All right, guys, it's the off season. We got to take our energy up to the next level for these episodes. People want to hear about Indiana basketball. Who the hell want to talk about basketball? It's June. It's like 94 degrees outside today. Why can't we do a show about Martha Stewart's paintings or something more crafty? I don't like basketball, and I don't like winter. Well, Brian Walsh was on a podcast this week, and we got to tell people something about it. So let's get into it. Oh boy, I'm a hillbilly monkey for 100 years. I gotta go out and I gotta listen to this dumbass talk about Indiana basketball every day. Here we go.
1 for 3 on the way. Oh!
Hello, guys, and welcome to Indiana Sports Connection. I am your residential anchor, Aaron. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being part of this Indiana Hoosiers and Colts community on here. So, what is it? It's the off season now. So, there are times I'm making one episode a week, but what happens to your brain? I mean, I'm sure this has happened to all of you out there where it's summer now. It feels like basketball and all the sports are in the rearview mirror. We'll focus on summer for a little while, and then we have to look forward to August 1st because that is when preseason football starts. So it's not as far away as you really think it is. Indiana basketball and the Colts playing again. We just got to get to August 1st because we're midway through June. The U.S. Open coming on today. This is going to be a little bit of a faster, looser type of show today. And I have some clips of Brian Walsh went on this coach's podcast and he told the difference between Archie Miller and Mike Woodson. And I just found it really, really interesting. And also just kind of looking at his past and that he played against Xavier. He also coached at Dayton. He was really tied in with the Miller family. And so I really learned some stuff about Brian Walsh that I had not known before. And just kind of looking at his background a little bit and how he got into the position at IU. Seems like a really great guy. I mean, he really does. Really, I think and I know things I've said on this show about Mike Woodson, about sometimes people do get, this is a little crooked. People do think that I am negative about Mike Woodson all the time, or I have a certain bad perspective of Mike Woodson. That's not true at all. This is just how I am all the time. I just think you need to constantly try to improve things, or else you're not doing enough to try to improve things. If you just want to say all the time that things are fine, don't look the other way, that makes me think things need to change. So I know I've said things, and Brian Walsh in this episode, he talks about how well liked Mike Woodson is and everything like that. And so that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today, because people do like Mike Woodson. The players really do like him and respond to him. Now, my own personal life, and I'm going to get into this more in just a minute. It's like, how can that affect your management style? Do you want to be well-liked as a manager, or do you not want to be well-liked as a manager? We'll talk about all that on this episode. But first, if this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button down below. My name is Aaron. This is Indiana Sports Connection. I make videos about the Hoosiers, about the Colts, about the Pacers, things happening in Indiana sports around the state and around the world. We have people watching this all over, so hit that subscribe button, get it out to more Hoosier fans, more Colts fans. I have a giveaway on the show. I have a few giveaways that I'm starting up right now. So, as in the last episode, and we are almost to 1,000 subscribers. So if you like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, you will be entered to win the basketball when I hit 1,000 subscribers. I also have a different type of giveaway. I'm going to do a giveaway for all the OGs on this channel. And I'm making a list of people that have commented on mostly all of the videos that I've made. And there's a list of about 60 to 70 people. I got these yesterday. So I got 1981 National Championship on DVD. I was watching this last night, and I'm thinking about making maybe a video about the 81 championship team or the 76 team. So both of these DVDs I will be giving away on the show to one of the OGs. So you could still maybe become one of those, but the people that really watch the show, that's what really drives growth on YouTube. So, I mean, I really want to thank the people that watch every episode. This could not be made possible without you out there, and leave your comments down below. But let's get now into talking about the Indiana Hoosiers. All right, so thank you for being here. I want to get into talking about what Brian Walsh said on this podcast. I thought it was just really kind of an interesting take to see, because he was with Archie Miller for 4 years. He was with Archie Miller and Sean Miller even before. And I learned a little bit about his playing career, but what he had to say about Mike Woodson and Archie Miller. What are the differences between these two coaches? Hillbilly Monkey, are you awake back there? I know it's June. I know it's 95 degrees outside, but we got to play these clips. All right, here is the clip. Who the hell? You're giving away DVDs on here? What do you think? It's 1995? Dude, I don't think people had DVDs in 1995. They had VHS tapes. Well, still, where are you getting the DVDs from? Ain't nobody got a DVD player no more. Somebody is going to cherish these DVDs for the rest of their life. And you know what? I think DVDs are going to make a big comeback there, Hillbilly Monkey. All right, how about you stop jawing so much and you just play the clip for us here. Technology. All right, roll it.
And then also share, like, being with two different head coaches. What are a couple ways that, like, being with Arch made you a better coach? And then what are a couple ways that being with Coach Woodson that made you a better coach? And that's the beauty of coaching, is learn from different guys. And I know that's been rich for you to absorb that from both guys. But, like, what are a couple of nuggets that you said, like, man, like, being with Arch really gave me this, and then being with Coach Woodson really has given me this?
Yeah, it's funny too, because they're very different, right?
Completely.
The one thing that I have the utmost respect in, what I learned from Coach Miller and his staff, and how, Bill Comar as well. Mm-hmm. We had the most organized staff in the country as far as our daily approach, our weekly approach.
Yeah.
And I think he learned it from somebody, whether it's Thad Motter or his brother Sean Miller, who I played for, but everybody learns it from everybody. Mm-hmm. And that's what I took away the most from Coach Miller, was he was so organized. He had a plan for every day. He had a plan for attacking the recruiting. He had a philosophy. We had our organizational charts. You knew exactly what you were supposed to be doing. And I think in college sometimes we get stuck with quantity of hours being in the office versus quality of trying to get things done, right? And wasting time. And the one thing I learned with Coach Miller is we don't waste time. Mm-hmm. All right? You have your responsibilities. You get those things done, you're good. Mm-hmm. All right? So I would say that probably was the main thing that I learned as far as how to run a program from 365-day approach. I would feel good explaining to an administrator, AD, hopefully one day I'm in that chair of saying, hey, this is how we're going to do things from June 3rd, first day of 8-week summer session, all the way through summer or spring workouts once the season's over before they go home.
He almost taught you how to be a CEO.
100%. Yeah. So that's something that I'll be forever indebted to him, with how he did things at his time with Dayton and in Indiana. And as far as Coach Woodson, the thing I admire most about him is just his personality. He's even keel. He's the head coach of the New York Knicks. So I remember first couple weeks on a job, like, hey, coach, man, like, this is a big deal. And he was like, son, I was the head coach of the New York Knicks. Like, things are going to be all right. I'm not too worried about this. So, I'm more of a little bit uptight type guy, like very organized, trying to always kind of prepare, be ahead. And he's more like, let's just day at a time, not look too far ahead.
Yeah.
His sense.
He goes with his hunches too.
Yes.
He's a hunch guy.
And he is, his personality, man, like contagious. Like, he gives you confidence. He's easygoing, like fun to be around, great energy. And I think the guys, the players, they notice a difference. Mm-hmm. Everyone says, Coach Woodson's a player's coach. What does that mean? Like, the guys love him. Right?
Yeah.
The guys like being around him. He's funny. He's loose. You know, he'll come into practice with a headband and a cutoff on, and it's just like he's so comfortable with who he is, right? And I think a lot of times in college basketball, you know, a lot of people are looking over their shoulder, maybe a little insecure as far as who they are as a person. Like, he is very secure with who he is, and he is going to do what he's going to do, and that's it.
Right.
He's not worried about what other people are going to say, and
yes,
that's something I'm still working on myself, but something I
think
really,
we
really
all
admire about Coach Woodson. And then his basketball mind. I mean, when Thad Malda was on staff our first year, I remember this like yesterday because it stuck with me. We're talking basketball, and he's saying, man, like, Coach Woodson in the NBA, they're talking chess, and college is talking checkers. It's just a different game, different way of thinking, different rotations, different schemes. And just being able to pick his brain, and Coach Woodson includes everybody on everything he does. We have big staff meetings, and I've learned so much basketball in my 3 years with him that I'll forever take with me. So those are maybe long answer.
No.
The two biggest differences amongst
All right. So a lot to kind of unpack there. I mean, about Archie Miller, I will say this. In Archie Miller compared to Mike Woodson, people hated Archie Miller. He was an easy guy to dislike. I always remember Kent Sterling saying that about Archie Miller, how he yelled out his name and like he didn't even turn his head to acknowledge him. That's the kind of guy Archie Miller is. I don't think he's a bad guy. I've heard him on his podcast. I think he's pretty boring. Like, his personality wise, he's just very like gruff, like all the time. I mean, that can be awful to be around. And look, when Archie Miller first came to IU, I thought, well, could this guy be like a Bob Knight? Could he be? There's something was missing from his brain that Bob Knight had, and that was this endearing quality to be like endearing towards the people around you so that your players love you, so that the people love you. Archie Miller also did an awful job recruiting, but I just saw a really interesting perspective from Brian Walsh here. And then you can see the jump. You can definitely see why Scott Dolson hired Mike Woodson. Because what happens in your life? You know, like, say if you dated somebody for 5 years, maybe you were married to somebody for 20 years, maybe you worked with somebody that you hated, maybe you hired somebody at a company, but this has happened to me many times where whether you dated somebody, I'm hiring somebody new somewhere, and all I'm thinking about is like, okay, the guy that I just fired, these are the things I didn't like about him. So I want to make sure that the person coming in has these qualities. And maybe that went a little bit into Scott Dolson's thought making when he made this hire, because Mike Woodson is a very endearing person. He is a great like storyteller. He can be like the guy's guy. He's played in the NBA. He's cool. He's cool. That's the bottom line. Like, Archie Miller was not cool. What Bob Knight was, he was Archie Miller and Mike Woodson. He was both of them. He could be a hard ass and hold you accountable and be cool to the players. That's hard to pull off. Dan Hurley's doing it at UConn. I hate to bring up Dan Hurley all the time and just talk about how great he is. He's virtually doing that. He's a jackass. Like, on the exterior, he can be a jackass and he can hold people accountable. But somehow he's got people that really want to play there and play for him. Not to bring this up, but would not have been hilarious if he would have went to Los Angeles after Liam McNeely went to UConn. I tell you, I don't like to laugh in a kid's face, and I wouldn't laugh in his face if he wasn't making money. But if he would have left there, I would have laughed in his face, because it's like, serves you right. You sold us a bill of goods about a story about how much you love the movie Hoosiers, and then you end up on the East Coast. That couldn't be more two-faced to anybody who grew up in the state of Indiana. There's anything out there, I'm sorry, but don't feed us some line of bullshit and then go somewhere else. But getting way off the subject, Brian Walsh just really broke down. I mean, this upcoming season, I thought about this deeply. I mean, Archie Miller could completely wreck like a team. I think we have a better offense with Mike Woodson as the coach. Archie Miller's offenses were dog garbage, even worse than Mike Woodson. What are the expectations going to be? Alec Lastly wrote a story that was on SI.com, and I don't have the link to it, but I thought it was really good, just really talking about what the expectations are going to be for this Indiana team. Because we're ranked 16th. We're probably going to be ranked like around 14th, 15th, or 16th to start the season. Will that hold? Because if this team comes out and they have some lackluster games early, it could spell like certain doom. But I really do want to give Mike Woodson the benefit of the doubt. I think he knows that this is his last shot at this, and I think he knows that he has to get through to these guys. And look, sometimes desperation is just cooked up at the right time for the right coach for him to make it happen. Many people operate like that. As soon as they're like put back against the wall, then they can make it happen. Mike Woodson, he's been that type of coach so far. Like when things get really bad, he can seem to bring them out of it, like winning the 5 games this last season at the end of the year. Is that where we're at, desperation wise? I think this team, roster construction wise, just looking at the players we have, the guards that we have, this team could definitely go to the Final Four. And there's no reason why they shouldn't really like win the Big Ten, or at least be where Indiana this next year should be where Illinois was last year. Like everybody thought it's just a 2-person race between Illinois and Purdue. That's where Indiana's got to be this year. We got to have the perception that we're fighting for the Big Ten title, and to really be there where we're going to get like a 2, 3, or 4 seed going into the tournament. The expectation is we're going to the Sweet 16 or the Final Four. And it's got to happen, or there will be a change of the guard. There's no more of this, these guys haven't played together. There's no more of all of these excuses, because this will be year over year over year. We're going to have this type of turnover. So if Mike Woodson can't really seem to like have a system in place that's going to be able to bring guys in, teach them that system, and have them playing at a high level by the time January hits, because every January, these Mike Woodson teams have had losing streaks and losing records through the month of January and February. We get deep into the winter, and that's when all hell breaks loose. And that's when this part of my brain, if they are terrible this next year, may just blow right off the top of my head, because that's how pissed off I will be if this team does not show up and show out for expectations and really put all out effort out there on the court. I want to see it. I want to see it from these guys. I want to see it from Mike Woodson. I want to see him get it done. And the Colts have got a lot going on here lately. Anthony Richardson coming back, and it's like 6-7 weeks away, and we will be to that August 1st mark where the first NFL game will be played, and then the season will be on their way. So, hey, I hope all of you out there are enjoying your summer and enjoy, the weather's going to start getting hot here. It's going to be hot here in Fort Wayne this afternoon, and, do all the fun stuff in the summer. Like, I love to watch basketball in the winter because that's what we do, It's what we do, We're Hoosiers. We love basketball. We want to be playing indoor sport, and smarter than those people up there in Minnesota. It's like, stay indoors, play some basketball in the wintertime, and we'll be watching a ton of it once this fall and winter rolls around. And once it comes, I can't wait for it all to happen. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. And until next time, stay classy out there, Hoosier fans.
Loading up and trucking. Are we going to do what they say can't be done?
These days, I think cybersecurity is now as important as physical security. That's why when I'm online, I use NordVPN. NordVPN uses next generation encryption to keep my passwords and data safe, which is especially important when I'm traveling and I'm on public Wi-Fi, which is more vulnerable to hacking. I'm sure a lot of you are going to be traveling for the holidays this summer. Use NordVPN, one account that will protect all your devices and computers. And with their 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose.